Imagine this. You are walking along the shore of a quiet island as the morning light touches the water. The ocean looks familiar, but something feels different. The tide has shifted. Small stones that were hidden beneath the sand are slowly being revealed. At first it seems like the landscape has changed, but then you notice something else. The ocean did not create what appeared. It only revealed what was already there. This is the energy of Malachite, a crystal often connected with transformation, change, and the moments when something inside us begins to ask for attention. Not because everything needs to become different, but because sometimes we begin to notice what we have been carrying for a long time. And sometimes change starts with simply seeing something clearly. Malachite is not a crystal that gives you answers. It does not tell you what to do. Instead, it carries a quieter message. A reflection about the moments when we realize that something within us has already started to move. Sometimes life changes suddenly. A new place, a different relationship, a door closing, a new chapter beginning. But some of the deepest changes are almost invisible. They happen in the quiet moments, when something that used to feel normal starts to feel different, when an old pattern no longer feels comfortable, when a version of yourself that you carried for years slowly begins to change. And there is something interesting about these moments. Often we think transformation begins when we make a big decision, when we finally take action, when everyone else can see the change. But perhaps the real beginning happens much earlier, in the small moment when you notice, when you pause and think, something feels different now. That small moment of honesty can change the way you see everything. And this is where the meaning of Malachite begins to shift. Malachite is often associated with transformation and emotional growth. Many people see it as a symbol of releasing old patterns and becoming aware of what is ready to change. And when you look at Malachite, its appearance almost tells this story. The different shades of green, the layers, the patterns that look like movement frozen in stone. It is not a crystal that looks perfectly still. It looks like something that has gone through a process, something shaped over time. Maybe that is why so many people connect it with personal change. Because real transformation often looks like that too. Layer by layer, moment by moment. Not becoming someone completely new, but discovering parts of yourself that were waiting underneath. There is something deeper here. Sometimes we hold on to old versions of ourselves without realizing. Not because they are wrong, not because they were mistakes, but because they once helped us. A way of thinking, a habit, a role we played, a story we believed about ourselves. At one point, they may have made sense, but life moves, we move, and sometimes there comes a quiet moment when we notice that something that once fit us no longer does. Like clothing we have outgrown. It was right for a season, but that does not mean we have to wear it forever. Malachite carries this symbolic reminder that change is not always about losing something. Sometimes it is about recognizing growth that has already happened. Sometimes we spend so much energy trying to return to who we used to be. A past version of ourselves. A familiar version. A version we understand. But what if some changes are not taking us away from ourselves? What if they are bringing us closer? This is the part many people overlook. Transformation is often imagined as something dramatic, a complete new beginning, a moment where everything changes. But many transformations are much quieter. They happen when you choose differently without even noticing. When you react with more understanding than before. When something that once controlled your thoughts no longer has the same weight. When you finally hear your own feelings instead of pushing them aside. Small moments, almost invisible, but meaningful. Maybe Malachite's deeper message is not simply about change. Maybe it is about noticing the courage it takes to be honest with yourself. To admit when something feels different. To recognize when a chapter is shifting. Even when you do not know what the next chapter looks like yet. Because being between versions of yourself can feel strange. The old feels familiar. The new is not fully here. And for a while, you are somewhere in between. Like the shoreline. Not completely land. Not completely ocean. A place that is always changing, but still whole. And maybe we experience seasons like this too. Moments when we cannot explain exactly what is happening inside us. We just know something is moving. Something is asking to be seen. Something is ready for a different kind of attention. In those moments, Malachite becomes a mirror, not a crystal that changes your path, but a symbol that invites reflection. A reminder of the natural cycles we see everywhere. Leaves changing, waves reshaping the shore, new growth appearing after rain. Nature does not question every transformation. It moves through seasons, and perhaps we do too. So the next time you see Malachite and its deep green layers, Maybe it is not asking you to become someone else. Maybe it is reminding you of everything that has quietly changed already. The strength you built, the things you started noticing, the parts of yourself you are beginning to understand. So, I leave you with this. What part of yourself is changing before the rest of the world can see it? And what would happen if you allowed yourself to grow into who you are becoming?